Wolfpack, thank you very much for tuning in for this episode of Test Night. What I have here is the NatureHike 3-person Opalus tent. This tent is going to see a lot of rain, a lot of action, and we might as well get it set up now. It should be mentioned that I'm using my own ground sheet, even though this tent does come with one. The ground sheet that I personally use is much lighter in weight. Just in case you do not know, my name is Luke, and this is the Outdoor Gear Review, a channel that is 100% agenda free. The purpose of a Test Night episode is to determine just how waterproof a tent is. Not only waterproof, but how well does it handle condensation, moisture control, and ventilation. All of these questions will be answered in this episode. With the Opalus 3-person tent, this is a budget-friendly tent from NatureHike. They claim that this is a 4-season tent. And this is a company that I've wanted to check out for a while now. This tent features 3 poles. The 2 blue short poles, one goes at the front, one goes at the back. And the long silver pole goes in the center. In addition to the questions that I have in regards to waterproofness, ventilation, and whatnot, I'm interested to see just how good of a 4-season tent this is. So far, the sleeves are very sticky. They're being a pain to get these poles to slide through. So the tent has been set up, and that took roughly 6-7 minutes, not too bad. There were some slight issues with the pole sleeves and the poles getting stuck, but that's no big deal. The overall quality, first impression, is not bad. I did find some loose threads here. That's not very impressive. That could be a weak point for this tent going into the future, especially as we go into the 4th season with our testing. Now, speaking of which, the testing for this video is primarily rain, and lots of it. This is a multi-day event, lots of rain, beginning later on tonight. Another observation that I have are the tent stakes. They are very short, very slim, and they are not adequate for 4-season use. In snowy situations, they would be practically useless. You would have to use something else. Now everyone, let's take a look at the inside of the tent. There's the other door, and here's the tent body. Now that is very interesting. So check this out, everyone. This is not a true 4-season tent. It's not double walled. Look at all of that mesh. Wow. Inside of the tent, it is huge. The vestibule area is gigantic. The body here is huge as well. There's tons of space, and there should be. This is a 3-person tent. The biggest surprise to me is all of this mesh. This is supposed to be a 4-season tent, and obviously it's not. That doesn't mean that you can't use it in the 4th season. But because of all of this mesh, you may have issues with blowing snow. You will definitely have issues with the blowing wind. A true 4-season tent features fabric that goes all the way around the body, and that's for multiple reasons. First off, it blocks snow completely. It blocks most winds. It also holds in a little bit more heat. Because of the design of this, you don't have those features. So any bit of wind can be blown right through this mesh. You may be just a little bit colder in it, and you may have issues with blowing snow. So now everyone, all we have to do is await the rain. Come on, rain. It sure looks like it's coming. It is dark, it's chilly, it's damp. Oh yeah. How do you all think this tent is going to perform? For myself, I don't know yet, to be honest. I don't have any experience with NatureHike, and my question for you all is this. How will it perform? Go ahead, pause the video, put your guess down below, And also, if you have any experience with NatureHike, I would love to hear it. And I'm sure the other viewers would too, so please make sure to share that. With that being said, let it rain, let it rain. If you all saw the previous episode of Test Night, you all saw that I was testing out the Cloud Up tent from NatureHike. That tent I could not get inside of when it was raining, but with the Opalus 3, I can, and that's because of the door and the gigantic vestibule. Okay. Whew. Let's open this up and see if there's been any leaking so far. As far as I can tell, folks, it is 100% dry in here. I do not see any moisture on the walls. That's good. This, my friends, is not a 4-season tent. 3-season, yes. 3+ season, yes. 4-season, forget about it. But so far, this is very promising. So far, this tent has been out in roughly 12 hours worth of rain. It's been mostly light rain, but it's starting to pick up now. And for the rest of the night, it will be rather heavy. Tomorrow, there will be a break. And again, more rain is coming in with roughly ½ an inch forecasted. So in total, this tent should see roughly 1 inch of rain. And so far, things are looking good. I will be back shortly to stay the night in the tent to see how well it performs as far as condensation, moisture control, and so on. All right, everyone. Let's see if the Opalus 3 has leaked. The moment of truth. The last 2 tents that I've tested out have leaked miserably. Let's see about this one. Uh-oh. There has been some leaking inside of this tent, and it looks like it's come through the vent, which I was worried about. That is interesting. After looking at the tent very closely, there has been one leak. Very small. I can see exactly where it came from. This is a point of weakness that I expected, actually. It's right here at the vent, on the back side, on the rear. When it comes to that vent, the lip of the vent is just like this with the edge of the fabric here. And that means that in certain situations, it can leak. Water can ingress through that because they're basically at the same level. And that's what has happened here. You can see the water drops through here, a few more over here, and there's a few more here. That is the only leaking I have seen inside of this tent. I don't know if you all are able to see it, but there's a wet spot right there. You can see that. The water dripped from this point right up here, right at the edge of that vent. It's actually wet right there. It begins, it goes down, it drops, falls against the mesh, goes down here, falls, and drips right there. Hopefully you can see that water drop right there. It's the only one that I see on this tent. Overall, everyone, I'm pleasantly surprised with just how waterproof this tent is. This tent has seen almost an inch of rain so far. This afternoon, it really came down. It was really raining. Water was just running down this mountain and the creeks were going up. And yet, this tent only leaked just a little bit from the vent. Considering how much rain has fallen and how little made it inside of this tent, I am impressed, especially for the money. The most important thing to keep in mind, though, is that this is not a 4-season tent. That's a joke. That's marketing nonsense. That's a company who wants to make money, and they will say anything to do it. But for a 3-season tent, a very large 3-season tent, I'm impressed. The price is not bad on this. It would be hard pressed to find a tent of this size that's this inexpensive. This tent really is massive. It's a palace in here. Luckily, tonight, it's not too cold. It's around 45 degrees. It's still raining, but it's not very hard. I've checked on this tent on and off throughout the day and haven't seen any leaking at all, so I suspect that it was during the heaviest of downpours that it leaked here in the corner of this vent. Talking about this tent not being a 4-season tent, with all of this mesh, the airflow in this is excellent, which is great for 3-season use, not great for 4-season. I mean, there's a slight breeze outside, and I can feel just about every bit of that inside of this tent. I can feel it around the back here, and even to some extent here at the walls, even though they are fairly high. If you were to take this out into a winter storm, first off, the fly material couldn't handle it. The poles are not strong enough. The tent stakes, they're too small. But gosh, every breeze you would feel inside of this tent, you would have to cover the fly with snow to make a barrier to stop the blowing snow from coming in and also the wind. Anyways, I'm going to call it a night. I'll bring you all back in the morning and we'll talk about condensation, ventilation, and moisture control and so on in more detail. For now, everyone, I'm going to say good night. Good night. Folks, good morning. Good morning. Morning has come inside of the Opalus 3. The ground is dry. The walls are too. I could see that there's a little bit of condensation on the fly here, but that's what I would expect. Any tent will condensate on the fly somewhat. Thankfully, the weather has really done a good job of proving my point. It is breezy right now, and you can feel every bit of that breeze coming into this tent. In a windy 4-season situation, you would really, really feel it. I made some notes on my phone here last night. Excellent ventilation. Condensation does form on the fly, but the fly is far enough away from the body that you don't have to worry about things getting wet. This tent is excellent with airflow, and that's a good thing and also a bad thing, depending on the conditions that you're sleeping in. If it's a rainy day, rainy night, great. If it's a snowy, windy situation, not so great. With the airflow circulating inside of this tent so readily, it really does confirm that this is not a 4-season tent, along with many other factors, which I will touch upon in the review. Speaking of which, I will have a review up concerning this tent. This is just one test. I'm going to test this out many, many times. I want to take a closer look here at the leak with the vent. I'd like to be able to see exactly where the water came in from. So yeah, I have more testing to do. And everyone, I think that's about it. The sun is about to come up. It'll be full on this tent in about 5 minutes. And at that point in time, I'm going to go blind. It is super bright in here. The orange fly material with the sun hitting that, yeah, it's pretty strong. It's pretty bright. So yeah, for now, everyone, that is it. This was a good test night, and all in all, I am impressed with just how waterproof this tent is. With the leaking that took place here at the vent, that's pretty common with low-cut vents like this. But it's something that I will test out more. I really want to see where it's coming from. It's one of those things where it may not leak like this again. But this tent has seen a lot of rain. It's done a good job. The amount of water that leaked into this was pretty minor. And the biggest point that I would like to drive home with this episode is that this is not a 4-season tent. Do not buy this for winter camping. You would not want to take this out into a winter storm, a true winter storm. If you live down in Florida and it's getting chilly and that's it, awesome. I think it'll work fine. If you are going to take this to Montana, you will be sorry. You will be sorry. The materials here are simply not strong enough. All of the materials that make up this tent and the design decisions are great for a 3-season tent, not a 4th season. Sounding off for the outdoor gear review. Everyone take care, be well, strength and honor. Make sure to comment down below and share your thoughts about this tent. What do you all think about the Opalus 3? And more importantly, what do you all think about NatureHike as a whole? Based upon the testing that I've done so far with this tent and the other tent, I think that there's some possibility here for some good tents, good budget-friendly tents from this company, but we shall see. Make sure to hit the like button because that does help the channel. Support if you want to. Everyone, take care, strength and honor. Bye, folks.